So in terms of items documented, the least we ever documented for, say, 1,000 square feet 3-bedder would be maybe 56 items, if I remember correctly. And the most we ever documented for the same size unit was 160 over items.
All right, thank you for tuning in with us back again at our So Far So Good podcast. This is Melvin from PropertyLimBrothers, and I hope that everybody has been doing well. And if you're listening with us on Spotify or Apple iTunes, and if it's your first time with us, this is also available on our YouTube channel at PropertyLimBrothers. So today, what we're going to bring on with our special guest is Wee Kwang from Absolute Inspection. So Wee Kwang is going to come on board shortly, and we're going to talk about everything about inspection when it comes to collecting keys, especially for your brand new TOP new launch project that you have just purchased. So this is this service has came, I think, to be on a very popular basis since the year 2015-2016, and I think it's really important for homeowners out there who are collecting keys to your new development project. And I think it's a key element before you even start on your renovation, or even if you proceed to rent out your place. So Wee Kwang has been has been running his business for about 5 years, since 2015, and guess what? They have conducted close to about 18,000 home inspection for TOB projects, and that's a massive number. Almost close to most projects that has TOP'd, their company has been involved. So I think he has a wide array of experience. And guess what? He was actually the deputy director of BCA at the age of 29. He was also a scholar that graduated with BCA. So in his wealth of experience, especially as a Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyor certified holder, so I think he has led his team to complete many inspection and defect checks for homeowners. So today we have Wee Kwang, a very experienced guy and definitely an expert in defects checks for homes. And we're going to bring him on stream. Hi, Wee Kwang.
Hello, Melvin.
Hey, hello. Hi, welcome.
Hey.
Welcome. Yeah, how have you been?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for coming on to So Far So Good. So, for those of our audience out there who probably have not heard of Absolute Inspection, why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction about your team, and then what do your company do, and stuff like that?
Sure.
Right.
First and foremost, Absolute Inspection is a defects company which specializes in checking houses for workmanship defects and quality issues. The bulk of our customers are homeowners who have just collected keys to their newly TOP projects. People engage us mainly because when you collect the keys to your new house, you have a 12 months defects liability period where you are allowed to report workmanship defects in your house to the developer, and the main contractor will get these defects rectified at no cost to you. So it makes sense for homeowners to get us in, and this has been our focus of, or rather our core business for the past 5 years. Actually, how we started off is like this, because even before I started Absolute Inspection, right, on and off, even during my days with BCA, I've been helping my friends to do inspection for their new houses and stuff like that. So in my encounters with my friends and the contractors and the developers throughout the entire defects journey, right, I can see that there is this gap in knowledge and communication breakdown frequently happening between the homeowners and the developers and the contractors, and sometimes that may lead to unpleasant experiences between parties. And not to mention that sometimes when homeowners, they try to inspect houses by themselves, or rather they assume that a brand new house will have no defects, and therefore they happily renovate and move in, only to find to their horror later on that some problems actually do exist, and now it has become so difficult to repair because they have moved in, renovation has been done, hindering the repair process. So it was a result of all this experience that we felt that maybe there is this service gap that we could come in to bridge the gap between homeowners and the contractors and developers, so that everyone can get all these problems resolved and everyone move on happily ever after. So that was how we started off.
Right. So Wee Kwang, in 2015, you started your firm Absolute Inspection, and
yes.
I still remember, like, because last time we have been in the market for 14 years. Last time we didn't really see this type of service in the market. Most of the time, homeowners that collect their keys at the developer office and they happily go on to their properties to open up the door, check the unit. Although there is a defect checklist, but usually the amount of defects that is being reported usually I think is of a very minimum level. Yeah. So, were you the considered like the pioneer in this industry? Because I think since your company came on stream, this has really brought on a lot of homeowners knowing that there's this kind of service that exists, and it has become a very very popular kind of route that homeowners will do. Because I think a lot of homeowners, they also already have this process in mind, and they will probably engage you guys before they even start their renovation. So were you guys the main market mover?
I will put it this way. Way before 2015, home inspection services has been around, but not very well known, on a very low scale, probably offered by, to my best knowledge, one or two companies in Singapore. How do we come into this picture was because in 2015, if you remember, there were a spat of issues with building qualities. We have heard of cases like Central 8, Trevally, Pasir Ris 1, all having quality issues. These were all featured widely in the news as well. And there was cases of water closet exploding in Punggol BTO flats, etc. So it was against this backdrop, and coincidentally, we happened to set up during that period of time, and we were featured in the news and newspaper as well. So in a way, we sort of helped to propagate this service a bit more in 2015. But definitely, it has been around before us. We just happen to be the one who pushed these services to the next level of awareness.
Right. Understand. And maybe share with us, like, your firm has done like more than 18,000 inspections. Would they mainly, the bulk of it, would they mainly for newly TOP private condo projects, or is a mixture with like BTOs or resale renovated properties?
I can share with you roughly 90% of our jobs are from newly TOP projects, with a large majority, maybe 70% in executive condominiums and condominiums per se, and the balance 30% being your BTO flats and your landed houses, etc. The other 10% of our jobs are in those resale property inspection, rental properties inspection, etc.
I see. So the majority will be brand new TOP condo projects. So
yes.
Usually, I think when the owner collect the keys, right, there's usually two intentions. One is they want to renovate to their own liking and then move in. The other intention is to quickly set up the place for rental purposes. And I think as a homeowner, time is of course of the essence, because while waiting for the TOP, probably they might be staying with parents or they might be renting. And how long does a defect check process take? Like, maybe you can share with us the journey as a homeowner engaging your team. How long does the journey last?
Okay, I use condo as an example. So let's say today, a young couple took keys to their new condominium unit. So let's say we go down and do the first inspection on their house. We will check the house for defects. We mark up the defects with stickers. We help them to document down the defects. Then they submit the defects to the developer. The developer will want to have a joint inspection with us to walk through what are the things we have reported, so that they know what are the things that they need to repair. This usually takes place about a few days later, typically. Then after that, in the context of condominiums and ECs, the main contractor and their subcontractors have about 30 days to finish the defects rectification works. Then after that, the handover inspection takes place, where we go down with the owners and together with the contractors, we check through all the defects rectification to make sure that everything has been done according to industry standards. And then if all is well, the owners can sign off the defects that they have raised out previously, and they can proceed with renovation. In the context of BTO flats, right, the defects rectification period is a lot shorter. Their guideline is to finish everything in 14 calendar days, and their calendar days, or rather 14 working days, by which they means like Monday to Saturday, 6 days, and another Monday to Saturday, another 6 days, and then the last 2 days for their own internal check-in.
So just to reiterate again, for condo projects, what is the typical time frame from start to finish? Provided all the stakeholders partake in this promptly, start to finish usually is how long?
Okay, taking everything into consideration, bear in mind that maybe if you are the first ever person to collect key in your project, they probably can put full-time workers to do your house a lot faster, right? If we were to average everything out, we will be looking at, say, 3 to 6 weeks all in for a typical condominium or EC unit, and about maybe 2 to 3 weeks for a BTO flat.
Okay, so 3 to 6 weeks for a typical TOP project. Also depending on the scale of the project, because larger units, maybe there's more defects, shortage of workers provided by the developers as well, right? So, does your team walk through the entire process? That means, will you guys be there for the joint inspection? What kind of involvement usually do you all are involved in the entire process, or does the owner have to do their own follow up with the developers and stuff like that?
Okay, our physical involvement will mainly be during the 3 site inspections, which is the first time where we check through the whole house, document the defects, and the second time walk through with the developer and the contractor to show them what are the reported defects and make sure that they acknowledge the defects. And the third time, where after they have repaired finish, we will come back and check everything is done properly. So during these 3 site inspections, we will be there physically with the homeowners. During the 2 joint inspections with the developer and the main contractor, we will do all the talking. We will take the lead in facilitating any negotiation that needs to be between the owners and the contractor as well. And then back end, during the rectification phase between the second and the third inspection, right? Usually the homeowners are the one who front the rectification process. We will handhold them and be their advisor behind the scene. So how it works is like this. So after the second inspection, the contractor start repair works. Then after that, homeowners, right, usually we will encourage them to drop by the house, say once a week, take a look at the progress. If they see any strange things in the house that they're not sure, they take photographs, they send to us. We will guide them and provide off-site technical advice to them along the way. If they need to chase the contractor, usually we will advise them how to do it in their own capacity. If we see the contractors and their subcontractors on site, because we may be at the same project site every other day also, we will also do our own pushing, checking of progress, etc. But officially, they are the one who front the process. We handhold them behind the scene.
I see. So share with us, Wee Kwang. Typically, I think for people who have not done a defect inspection check service before, I mean, with firms like yours, the most common way that you all check defects is that after you all check through the house, and then if you find defects along the way, you all will use your own tapes to paste right on the surfaces. So what is the average number of defects that are usually typically found in a condo unit? Let's say it's a typical size, let's say a 3-bedroom, for example. And what has been the most number of defects that you have found? Maybe just a fun fact to share with us.
Okay. So let's say 3-bedder, 1,000 square feet condo units. I think in our company history, the least number of tape we have ever pasted. Just talking about tapes, not the number of items we document, because some items could be repetitive. We are looking at maybe less than 200 tapes in the best quality house we have seen to date, 1,000 square feet, 3-bedder. The most we have ever pasted, 3-bedder, 1,000 square feet, I think would be about close to 1,000 stickers.
Wow.
But in terms of the documentation, right, just now I was sharing with you, let's say painting defects, right? I could be pasting 100 stickers on every wall and ceiling, but we document it as only one item, because it's the same item, right? So in terms of items documented, the least we ever documented for, say, 1,000 square feet 3-bedder would be maybe 56 items, if I remember correctly. And the most we ever documented for the same size unit was 160 over items.
Okay. Right. And that means like there's like 56 different items is the best state
Yes.
usually.
Yes.
Okay. What are the most common forms of defects that are found in TOP projects?
Let me use our recent projects as an example.
Yeah,
So
what are some of the
recently,
recent projects? Yeah.
we have been busy with 3 or 4 condo projects. So the most common workmanship defects that we are seeing right now are like misalignment issues, specifically with carpentry works. So you have like warped wardrobe frames, you have cabinet doors which are misaligned, you have hinges which are not installed properly. These are very common issues. We see a lot of cosmetic stuff as well. Your stains, then chips, scratches on your floor, wall, ceiling, skirting, carpentry as well. These are actually the run of the mill defects. But other than that, right, actually these are not what really bothers us a lot, because if you think about it, strictly speaking, these are
Cosmetic
issues, yes, which will not really affect your livability of the house. You can live in a house with 1,000 cosmetic defects or 10,000 blisters on the wall, right? And it doesn't affect how you stay in the house. We are more concerned about things which are functional in nature. So besides cosmetic stuff, right, we also will be checking your plumbing, sanitary, drainage, electrical points, as well as appliances as well. And sometimes we also look out for telltale signs of pest infestations. We have a bit of knowledge on the most common pests in new projects, especially on termites and wood borers. We see them sometimes, not a lot of times, but sometimes. We are also very particular about checking for water seepages, telltale signs of water seepages, and mold, etc. Because these are some of the things which will skip the eyes of a typical layperson homeowner. But we hardly see this kind of issues in new projects. Even I think in the recent projects that we are currently inspecting, right? I think in terms of plumbing, sanitary, and drainage, yes, we have seen some water ponding issues in floorways as opposed to floor traps. Floor traps are supposed to have water trap inside, so that's fine. But if you find water ponding in floorways, that poses a mosquito breeding risk, and we are seeing that in a couple of condos right now, and we are working with their plumbers to work out a solution on how to solve it, because it is not going to be easy to do hacking works and affecting the waterproofing membrane integrity below. So we are looking for other safer solutions to do it, because it has been a condo-wide issue that we are facing now. Appliances, very standard. Sometimes you see oven trips. Oven trips, contrary to common belief, are actually not uncommon because the oven has been bought, kept on site, and installed into the unit for quite a while before they actually give out the keys. And along the way, the heating element get moisture, so they start to trip. All you need is a gradual preheating process to remove the moisture, and then you have your oven in working conditions. So things like that, we will also look out for. And if there are certain things that we can help to so-called do minor repairs on our end during our first inspection, we will do it for homeowners as well.
So I've heard you mention like termite, water ponding. These are like the more major. Okay, what are the top 3 most major defects that you have ever seen in your entire like 5 years out of 18,000 inspections, right? Top 3 most I mean in terms of heavy duty kind of defects that really cost the owner a lot of time to wait for this to be rectified. And how long was the process?
Okay, I was split into 2 types. Top 3 most serious defects we find in newly TOP projects, and top 3 most serious defects that we see in resale properties.
Okay.
Because they are actually quite different.
So resale properties, you're talking about those resale properties that has been renovated, and then they bring you guys in to check the renovation, or before they actually buy? Pre-purchase. Okay, so before they make a decision to buy, they get you guys in.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, let's probably talk about the newly TOP condos first.
We talk about the new one first. So the top 3 most serious issues we've ever seen newly TOP condos. Number 1 would be extremely rare termites. We do see termites infestation and termites attack before in new projects.
Wow.
And the attack was so aggressive that when we first checked the house, all the timber flooring was fine. 2 weeks later, all the timber flooring was gone. You step on it, it is soft already. Wow. Then we saw termite trails everywhere. in the lift shaft, etc. also. So that is the number one most damaging defect that we find. Technically, it's not a workmanship issue, but it is indeed
infestation
problem
issue
in the house, and it does affect livability. So things like this we will also report. So the second type, most serious we ever saw was water seepages. Water seepages, and with that I mean two types, which bothers me a lot more. One would be water seepage from external building facade into the inner side of the same wall. Wall water seepage can be quite hard to resolve if the contractor is unable to trace the original point of entry of the water on the building facade. If they cannot find what we call the root cause, the source itself, right, they can do all kinds of repair from within the house, right, and the water will still come back. Because unfortunately, concrete is by nature porous, and the water can flow inside the concrete along the path of least resistance. So they need to solve the source itself. The third issue that bothers us a lot is really water ponding in floorways. Floorways is like
the floor traps, is it?
There are two types. So let me try to explain it simply. So if you look at a new condo unit, if you look at the bathroom, typically they have a bigger floor drainage on the floor, and they have a smaller floor drainage in the shower area. So there's one big one near the water closet, and there's a small one in the shower area. Sometimes they swap the location around. So the small one is what we call a floorways. If you look inside the pipe, it is supposed to be a dry pipe. If you look at the big one, right, where there is also an anti-mosquito valve and a strainer, the plastic piece with a one-way flap, right? If you take out that one, there is water in the pipe. The water is there to prevent foul smell from backflowing into the toilet. So that is fine. It's supposed to have water. That's why they put an anti-mosquito valve in it to make sure mosquito cannot breed inside. But the small one, which is supposed to have a dry pipe inside, if there's water ponding inside because maybe the way the pipe was routed didn't have the appropriate gradient, then you have an issue, because floorways, the typical dimensions, right, you can't really find a similar size anti-mosquito valve in the market. Then you have mosquito breeding issue. So that one, how do I put it? It is not the most serious problem, but it can be a bother because it is very hard to rectify.
Okay. So
the conventional knowledge is you have to do hacking, you have to reroute the pipe, etc. Then you have to do back waterproofing, you have to lay back the tiles. But nowadays, a lot of condominiums are using prefabricated bathroom unit where the entire bathroom is like a box built in the factory. Right. And all they do is they bring the box to site, they hoist it, and they connect it to the box below them. So then hacking and all this stuff, right, becomes technically extremely challenging. So yeah, that's why it can be very hard to repair. And these are the things that bother us a lot. We are not bothered by things which are easy to repair. Like owners sometimes come to us and say, oh dear, my glass cracked, my glass shattered, my mirror is in 2 pieces. To us, that is very straightforward repair. All they need to do is replace, and then all will be fine. Then you have a defects-free mirror, you have a defects-free glass. If it's something that is hard to repair, then you have issues. You worry, what if the problem come back to haunt you again next time?
Very structural. So you mentioned the 3 things: termites issue, which is pest infestation, plus external leaking issues.
Yes, water seepage.
Maybe hard
and
to
the
track.
last one, the
water ponding. Okay, so how long? What's the longest period that you ever seen that a typical developer take to rectify this kind of major issues, and how long does the owner need to wait?
Depending on the complexity of the issue, right? I think the termite attack, we only managed to see like 3 or 4 cases in our entire company history.
Okay,
they managed to solve it pretty fast, because I think in Singapore, the pest management companies are pretty competent in their job. So that is a good thing to know. Right. Water seepage, right, depending on the complexity of the issue and how widespread is the seepage, right, can take as long as a few months or even exceed the entire defects liability period before they could be solved. So that is, we have a real case where our client has to move out of his unit because they couldn't stop the water from entering his curtain wall system, the window frames and stuff like that. Then they have to relocate him to a vacant unit, which thankfully hadn't been sold yet.
So was that compensation by the developers or?
Our client didn't share much more,
Okay.
but we would expect that they would have asked for certain damages in kind.
So just for the knowledge of our audience is that you cannot commence renovation before all the defects has been rectified, right? Because the moment you commence renovation, then you will open a bag of worms, whereby if you want to report any defects after the renovation, then there will be probably a lot of different kinds of like arguments or perspectives that it could be caused by your own contractors, right? Am I right to say that?
Yes and no, actually. Let me share a fuller picture to that with you. So let's say you have started renovation works and you have moved in.
Right.
And along the way, you find that suddenly the aircon is no longer cold. Can you report that even after you moved in? Yes, you can. And will the main contractor still entertain it? Yes, they will. Because why? There is no reason for them to believe that you could have make your own aircon warmer. There's no reason for them to believe that. But let's try another scenario. So you have renovated your house and you have moved in. Then one day you decide to report a long scratch on your main door. Will the contractor entertain that? Chances are no. Why? Because they will say that they don't know who inflicted the scratch. And if the long scratch was so obvious, why didn't the owner report it before they start renovation work? Why didn't the renovation contractor report it before they start renovation? So this is the guiding principle by which the developer and contractor will determine whether a reported defect after reno or after move-in commence shall be entertained by them or not. This is how they determine.
Right. So I'll call it I mean, these are logical guiding principles on certain particular items where there could be so-called like foul play and they're probably like things that is, I mean, like you mentioned, the aircon is impossible that people will purposely go and dampen it, right? So how about the resale? You were talking about the new ones. Then what about the resale? The top three major items.
The worst ever one we saw was landed house ground settlement. So we went to see the house. Then the door frame was already slanted. Wow. The window frames were all slanted. The car porch was sunken half an inch into the ground.
Wow.
Then the buyer was very determined. He really liked that location. He wanted to see whether anything could be salvaged. So it was the landed house was in original condition, built in the 1960s. So we climbed out the ceiling to take a look at the roof structure inside. Then the timber trusses were also broken already. So we told him, we asked the buyer,
do you really want to buy this?
Buy the house? No, after you buy the house, do you have plan to tear down and rebuild? He said no. Then I said don't buy.
Wow.
If he said yes, then I think it's fine.
Okay.
Because the house structurally was not safe already. I'm surprised actually the owners could still stay inside. Because they couldn't even close their
There was somebody staying inside.
There was people staying inside.
Right.
So the deal didn't go through but I guess in a way the seller was thankful that we actually highlighted this to them because they were not aware. They thought it was still safe.
Oh, okay. So they themselves were not aware as well.
They think it was safe. They say, okay, they just slanted a bit only.
I think
then every year they see the earth sinking.
Oh, okay. I mean people who have stayed there for so many years, probably you don't realize all these minor changes along the way because it probably could be very gradual.
Exactly. They were so used to the environment, that these things to them, are not major. And it's like the human mindset. I've been staying here for so long. What worse could happen with it?
Right. How about the second most major defect that you've seen?
Water seepage also. Water seepage.
Okay.
Really very hard to resolve. And but this kind, for resale properties, usually when we see water seepage, it is interfloor seepages. That means maybe from the upstairs toilet to the downstairs toilet. Because especially for old houses, waterproofing membrane unfortunately does have a shelf life to it also. So in extremely old houses, yes, sometimes we check inside the false ceiling, then we see stalactites, we see mold forming. These are signs of water ingress into the concrete slab already, and can be hard to resolve that because why you need the cooperation of the neighbor upstairs. So you haven't buy the unit, then you have to imagine that you buy the unit, you inherit this problem, then you
You
have
have
to
to
go upstairs, say
coordinate all
hello,
this
be
thing.
friend with the neighbor,
Right.
then plead with them to redo their toilet waterproofing, which
Right.
involve hacking works and inconveniences to upstairs neighbor.
Mm.
So unless the buyer is extremely inclined towards buying that particular unit, right? Otherwise, we would advise them to have a second thought about it, because these are complicated issues, which most people wouldn't want to inherit by buying the house. So that is the second one. Third one, same also, but not so much termite, because termite attacks are so aggressive that even the residents, the occupants themselves will have noticed it, but more wood borers. Once in a while, we will see wood borers attack in old houses as well. So what's the difference between wood borer and termite? Wood borers, right, they bore holes in timber itself, and their attack are a lot slower than termite. So you don't actually feel it. But there will be
wood
telltale signs.
borers, is it?
Wood borers.
What color is it? I mean, like how do you identify them?
What color are they? Are
very similar to termites?
Not really. Actually, if you look at them long enough, you will be able to tell the difference. They don't look exactly like termites, but wood borers, right, they have this distinct feature. When they bore through the wood, right, they will leave behind heaps of sawdust on the floor.
Okay.
So you see like small pyramids of sawdust on the floor. Then sometimes owner, they don't know. They say, hey, how come I keep having dust on my floor? Then they sweep away. Then every time they keep sweeping, then they say, hey, how come I got holes on my floor? Then they are not aware actually it's related.
Okay. Right.
So
these are the three. Okay. I saw your profile. It's very interesting. I mean, you at a very young age, at age 29, you were already the deputy director of BCA, right?
Yeah, I was lucky.
Okay, so why did you decide to come out and to start your own firm in year 2015? What drives the passion?
Actually, when I left BCA, I actually joined a construction company. So I was involved in the construction and development of foreign workers' dormitories. And it was after that I came out and I started my own interior design firm with a partner. Then that was the first time where we actually offered defects inspection services as part of our renovation package.
Wow, okay.
To have an alternative source of leads to our renovation company. So we tell owners that, you let us check your house for defects, then we 顺便 can renovate your house for you.
Okay.
So why we eventually decided to branch off, right, as a full-fledged inspection companies, there were many considerations, but I will share with you one of the more major consideration. So what happened was that when we are a renovation company, so we serve a homeowner. So we help the homeowner to inspect the house for defects. Then after that, we also have to renovate the house for the homeowner. And homeowner, they have a time frame by when they need to move in. So let's say they say, I need to move in before the 7th month. So you work backwards. Okay, so I need maybe 6 weeks for renovation. So what does it mean? It means that my defects rectification needs to finish before mid-May, let's say lunar month. But what if there are a lot of defects in the house? Then how am I going to make sure that the contractor and on the developer side can finish all the defects rectification by the mid-May lunar month? I can't control that. So what happened is that there were scenarios where we were very hard pressed we got into a conflicted position where we were thinking to ourselves, do I want to catch more, jeopardize my own renovation timeframe, or do I want to close one eye so that I don't jeopardize the renovation timeframe? But that would not be in the best interest of the client, you see. So there was a clear conflict of interest. That's why the team of us doing defects inspection, right, we left. We branched out, we set out absolute inspection, full-fledged inspection company, and ever since then, we never touched renovation works. Because direct conflict of interest, we can't do that.
Right, I think it's very specialized as well. So I want to take your thoughts about the building quality for these few years.
Actually, a lot of people have been asking us this question.
When it comes to private projects,
that building quality, has been deteriorating.
What are your thoughts on building quality compared to probably these 5 years? Vis-a-vis maybe like 10 to 15 years ago, where we see like old condominiums where you have very solid walls and things like that. Has there been a huge disparity, and then what is the quality level based on your own opinion?
This one I can share with you. Very honestly, the building quality, right, has not deteriorated actually ever since my days in BCA until even today. It has not deteriorated in terms of, say, the number of defects we are seeing, the types of defects we are seeing.
It's about the same.
Yes, it's actually about the same. So why is there a perception that buildings nowadays are of poorer quality than before? A few factors are, one of the key factors, right, which I personally believe is that there is an increasing awareness of building defects. People nowadays, homeowners nowadays, they are more savvy. They go online, they Google, then they learn about the BCA Construction Quality Assessment System, or CONQUAS we call in short. They learn about what are building defects. Then sometimes they visit websites like from companies like us, where we also share knowledge and insights inside. So they start to be aware of things which maybe our parents were not aware. So for example, when my parents were buying their house, right, they probably wouldn't know, for example, like a misaligned cabinet door is a defect, right? Because it doesn't bother them. But nowadays, with the onset, how do I put it?
With social media as well. I mean, a lot
social
of
media information spread and more educated base of homeowners, right? People are aware that these are defects. So they are more sensitive to that. Then you will see the news have been picking out all this. As I was mentioning, in year 2015, that was the year where the most publicity on building quality issues surface. Then after that, every year you will have a few cases which are reported in the news. Like just for instance, this year, I think easily the news pick out at least 3 cases of concrete spalling already, which in the past, I would safely say in 2014, for example, people would not be aware of concrete spalling as an issue taking place in resale properties, for example. So this is the thing that actually led to a lot of people believing that quality has dropped. Then, of course, along the way, construction technology has built a bit differently from the olden days. So like, for example, in the good old days, the walls are all solid. They are made of brick walls, hollow blocks, etc. Nowadays, dry walls are more prevalent.
Correct.
So homeowners, they may not be aware of drywall as we speak, the pros and cons of it. So they go and tap the wall, then they say, hey, very hollow, like safe or not, can hang things or not. So that is the current level of knowledge that our homeowners have. So when owners ask us things like that, right, then we will share with them also. So like your drywall, right, actually they can take load. And if you use the right anchor bolts, actually you can hang things as light as 6 kg per point load to as heavy as 25 kg per point load. It is possible. The drywalls are designed for that. You give the market a few more years, right? When people are more familiar with drywalls, right, then you will see this kind of feedback and concerns are getting lesser again. So this is how the market evolves over time. Yes.
Okay. Right. So I also realized from your website there are many different kinds of services as well that you do. So apart from what you mentioned about the brand new TOP projects, resale projects, you also do troubleshooting for water leaking plus like molding kind of issues. So other than this few, are there any other services that you provide? Maybe you can share with our audience so at least they know when they visit your website and stuff, they know what do you guys do?
Actually, we, like what you mentioned earlier correctly, right? We are pretty specialized in what we do because we want to steer clear from potential
for other distractions.
Interest.
Okay.
So specifically, I can actually list out for you all our services. So we do home inspections, specifically new projects. We do pre-purchase inspection. We do post-renovation inspection. We do pre-tenancy, post-tenancy inspection as a third party. Other than home inspection, we sometimes also do inspection for commercial properties as well. So we have done for community centers, we have done for nursing home, we have done for shopping malls, factories, etc. But not a lot because actually for these property owners, right, or tenants, right, their focus is they want to take over the property quickly, set up shop quickly, and then move on already. So to them, like a wall chip, cracked marble tile, it doesn't really bother them. So that is fine for them. That is fine for us also because our job is to make sure that we meet the needs of our customers. If they don't need our service, so be it. We can value add in other ways. Other than home inspections, right? Like you mentioned earlier on, we also do troubleshooting, diagnostic for waterproofing, water seepages, issues as well. And for this, we work very closely with our waterproofing specialist, KCSU. For Mo, we work with our Mo specialist, AOM as well. Because actually in the last 3 years, I think we have seen an increasing trend in these issues as well. I don't know, is it because the building stock is getting older or because we are getting more rain every year? Okay. But we are seeing more and more of such issues. And it can be quite a bother to the people living inside, especially for more, it is a health concern. So these are what we do. Then other than that, we also do third-party witness in mediation, arbitration, small claims, strata titles board hearing, state court. And for this, we work very closely with our resident chartered building surveyor from ZLC as well. So this is how we help homeowners to resolve the issues in their property. Very specific. We try not to dwell with
very specialized
beyond this. Yeah.
Great. I think it's important to specialize as well. And I think you're really an expert. I mean, looking at your wealth of knowledge of the description of the things that you're talking about, I think Wee Kwang is really one of the key experts in this market. So how big is the team, Wee Kwang, right now?
Today, maybe pre-COVID, but pre-COVID we have about 14 of us, 14 senior inspectors. I haven't included the juniors yet because senior inspectors are allowed to do inspection independently. Okay. Juniors have to tag along seniors and until they pass their probation, they clock their track record milestones with us, then they get elevated to senior. So we have 14 of them. We split them into 2 teams. One team specifically doing inspections, home inspection, pasting of stickers, documentation of defects, etc. And the other team dedicated to doing the joint inspections with the contractors, the subcontractors, and the developers. The skill sets that we impart to the 2 different teams are very different. So for the first team, I think it's quite straightforward. So we make sure that they know they know enough of every trades in the construction industry, and that's actually quite a lot of trades and discipline. We make sure they know enough of every trade to be able to identify workmanship defects in every trade. And we make sure that they don't miss out things. We make sure that there are systems in place to help them minimize their human error to the least possible, because human error, unfortunately, is inevitable. Sometimes we miss out things. We also don't like that. Owners also don't like that. So we cut that down. That is the first team. Second team, we train them to communicate effectively with contractors, because actually developers and contractors, if you go to a typical unit and you deal with them, you realize that the typical profile of the defects team from the developer side, they will send down a customer service officer usually, then there will be a site supervisor from the main contractor. Sometimes for serious issue, the QA/QC manager may come as well. Then these people, especially the site supervisors, the typical profile would be your Bangladeshi site supervisor, your Indian site supervisor, or your PRC site supervisor. Once in a while, we still see Thai site supervisors around as well. So language can be an issue. So they may understand English, but they may not be fluent in it. So we have to speak in a way that they understand exactly what we are talking about. So the second team, is trained in effective communication. We also train the second team to do negotiation between homeowners and contractors. So sometimes, because certain homeowners, they have special requests. Like, for example, in condos, they don't give spare tiles. Unlike BTO flats, they give spare tiles. So if the condo owner say, I like to have 2 pieces of marble, so what to do? Although it's not within our scope, we try to facilitate. So we are very good friends with most of the big construction companies in Singapore. So we know their QA/QC team. We try to help a bit, things like that. Then we give and take. So sometimes they are really hard pressed to give marble tiles, for example. Then we say, actually, there's this bit of hollowness in the marble floor in one corner of the living room, which actually the risk of failure or tile popping is a minimum. Can we let go of that? Then if owner is okay, then they are okay to give spare tile. Give and take. Okay. So second team is specifically trained for that.
Right.
So this is how we operate.
Wow. Okay. I think it's you probably, having done like 18,000 kind of inspections, you already, your guys are definitely one of the very senior people in the industry already. So right now, we're in like June coming to July. Yes. Probably the last question I have for you is that what do you see? I mean, how do you look at this COVID-19? I mean, now we have already walked out the circuit breaker. We're into phase 2 now. So how do you see this affecting previously in the 2.5 months, right? And possibly in the next 6 months, what do you think will be some of the things that will be on owners' minds, especially those people that are collecting keys for newly TOP projects with this pandemic situation? So what do you think will be some of the changes? I mean, maybe not so much of what has happened during the circuit breaker, like from now until end of the year, what do you see will be probably some of the things that people might need to take note of?
Okay, a few things that I can think of right now that will be on homeowners' mind. First will be upcoming projects which were supposed to have obtained TOP or are going to obtain TOP soon, may possibly face delay in getting TOP. So homeowners may have key collection delays, for example. Like offhand, I can think of, like for example, this year Atra was supposed to give up key pretty soon. I'm not sure whether their key collection schedule have been delayed as a result of COVID. Queen's Peak was supposed to give out before the circuit breaker kicks in, but end up they have to give the keys 1 or 2 months later. And so on and so forth for the new pipeline projects for the rest of this year.
Right.
For those who have already collected keys but have yet to report defects or have reported defects, but the defects have not been completely rectified by the contractors, right? I think they are concerned, and this is what we've been hearing from our homeowners as well, is that when can the contractor resume works? A lot of them are asking the developer this question. And unfortunately, every developer that I know, right, do not have a ready answer to that. Their answer is that depends on when BCA can give them the approval. Because there are a lot of requirements that needs to be met, including getting all the workers swab tested and tested negative, rehousing of the workers according to the new housing requirements, modification of lorries and other transportation arrangement, and then the deployment of safe management officer, training of these workers, etc. So all these are going to take a bit of time, and no construction company in Singapore knows right now for sure when all their workers can resume work. So with this commencement time frame being an uncertainty, right? A lot of homeowners, they cannot plan when they can start renovation. They cannot plan when they can move in. So some of the developers nowadays, they try to do an alternative arrangement. This is what we are encountering right now and helping to facilitate as well, which is so the owner has collected keys and reported the defects already. So the main contractor cannot do the works because there's no workers. So they are allowing the homeowners, right, to renovate and move in first. But before that is done, right, they want to do a joint inspection with the homeowners to walk through all the defects that the homeowners has reported in their first defects list. Okay. Then, based on this list, right, they will come to an agreement to say that, okay, whatever has been documented in the defect list, right, the contractor will honor even after the renovation the moving. Okay. But anything not inside this first list of defects, right, case by case basis.
Okay.
So this is one thing that we are helping to facilitate between homeowners and contractors right now also. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so this is one way to move forward. Other than that, for people who are really not urgent, that we ask them if you can wait, you wait. For those who are urgent and they have to move in even before they have their defects inspected, right, we ask them to do minimum works, or if they need to, try to lift off loose furniture first, because loose furniture can be shifted around. So at least the floors defects can be rectified. If there are a lot of fixtures in the house as a result of renovation, then it becomes difficult for the main contractor to come in later on to do rectifications, especially for the flooring. So there are some owners who are reworking their renovation plans with their interior designers as well, trying to redesign certain areas such that they can facilitate for maybe another round of marble polishing or buffing next time after they're moving and stuff like that. So there's a lot of uncertainty in that area.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. I mean, probably a lot of people don't really think into that level of requirements needed now by developers and the construction firms to obtain TOP. So there's a lot more requirements right now, and probably the market will need a bit of time to react to this. So I think it's really great information that you've shared with us, Wee Kwang, and our audience.
No problem.
Yeah, and so for anybody of you who wants to know more about Absolute Inspection, you can head on to their website at absoluteinspection.sg. They have a FAQ, which is great. They answer a lot of questions that probably has been on your mind when it comes to doing defects check before you start your renovation upon key collection. They also have their fee guide over at their website, which is very transparent, and I think they have like 2 different kinds of packages, comprehensive and essential package, so you can head over to have a look. And plus they have a lot of reviews also from their customers, great reviews about their service. So do give Wee Kwang and his team a call if you want to know more about their services. We'll also leave a link on their company website down on this video as well, if you're watching from YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. If you're listening with us, just head on to absoluteinspection.sg. Now, Wee Kwang, thank you so much for coming on stream with us for this 1 hour session. It's really great knowing more things, and plus all the top 3 major defects that you have seen over your past 18,000 cases. Plus also, I think it's good to know the entire process as well. So very beneficial for our audience today. Thank you so much. And I just want to wish you all the best with your team.
Thank you.
Yeah, and take care. And for those of you who have always been following us on our So Far So Good series, do catch us weekly on our episodes where we bring you real estate interviews and sessions together with different industry experts and people. And take care. We'll see you soon. Cheers.